We have a new golden ticket winner for World's Best Park, and that's Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Opening in 1961 as Rebel Railroad, then Gold Rush Junction, then just Gold Rush, then Silver Dollar City starting in 1976. In 1986, country star Dolly Parton bought an interest in the park, and the park was henceforth known as Dollywood. This park is known for its great theming, set in the 1800s, focusing on the culture of the Smoky Mountains, and ever since 1970, it's been building roller coasters. Ever since the turn of the century, they've ramped up their coaster game, featuring a diverse lineup that keeps visitors of all ages entertained. They currently have 10 coasters, and today, let's put all bias aside and find out which one's the tallest, fastest, longest, best paced, and rank them up based on prime ride time. These are the coasters of Dollywood, by the numbers. If you're new to the series, prime ride time starts when the train picks up speed off the lift and ends when it hits the final brakes. For launch coasters, the clock starts when the launch starts. With the help of Google Maps and the Pythagorean theorem, I'm able to take out the lift, station, and brakes from the overall length, so the number on your screen won't match the number on RCDB. Before we get started, if you can drop this video a like, I'd appreciate it. It really helps with the algorithm, and if you like videos like this, please give me a sub. Also, a couple channel plugs. I set up Airtime Thrills raw footage so other coaster YouTubers could download clips copyright free. And also, my baseball channel, Home Run Productions. Check that out if you're a baseball fan. There's one coaster that doesn't really fit in with the rest, and it's hard to compare apples and oranges. That's Blazing Fury, a coaster built in-house by the park's maintenance and construction crew back in 1978. It's mostly powered, but it has 3 drops at the end which qualifies it as a coaster. Still, it's pretty much a dark ride. As you can imagine, it's pretty slow, maxing out at 22 miles an hour, rises up 22 feet. That would be second to last if I put it on the list, and it covers 1,520 feet of track, just about all of it prime ride track, though you could argue it only has about 50 feet of true prime ride track. That length would put it 7th, and it covers about 8.5 feet per second, which would very much be in last place. The one thing this excels in is ride time. Because of that slow speed, it takes a long time from start to finish. 2 minutes and 58 seconds, or 178 seconds. That's by far the longest ride time of any coaster in the park, beating the next longest coaster by 99 seconds. Sorry Blazing Fury, I can't let you play here. You throw off the curve way too much. In 9th place with 14 seconds is Whistlepunk Chaser, a Zamperla gravity coaster. Dollywood used to have a kids coaster called Sideshow Spin, and it operated from 2005 to 2016. That was removed and replaced with a coaster about the same size, the very basic and very popular Zamperla gravity coaster. Having almost 50 installations out there, it rises up 13 feet, that's last. Drops down to the right, maxes out at 10 miles an hour, that's also last. Goes into a helix and turns back to the station, covering about 234 feet of track, that's last, and over 1,000 feet away from the next shortest coaster. Just to make it a clean sweep, this covers 16.7 feet per second, about 11 seconds away from the rest of the field. You can see, Dollywood has other family coasters, but they're pretty large scale, so Whistlepunk Chaser is a vital part of the lineup to serve the smallest coaster riders. In 8th place with 31 seconds is Dragonflyer, a Vekoma family suspended coaster. This opened with Wildwood Grove in 2019, the award-winning kids area of the park, and even though it wasn't America's first Vekoma family suspended coaster, it was the first one you could consider new age. These are ultra smooth and surprisingly intense, rising up 63 feet, that's second to last, dives underground and hits a top speed of 47 miles an hour, that's 6, and stays very low to the ground, twisting around 1,284 feet of track, that's second to last. Because it hugs the ground, it keeps its speed very well, covering 41.4 feet per second and finishing 6th in pacing. When it comes to Dollywood's family coasters, believe it or not, this is their smallest one. In 7th place with 32 seconds is Tennessee Tornado, an Aero Looper. This was Aero's final looper, opening in 1999, and it's so much different from the others. Its 3 inversions are big, and it doesn't have that janky Aero feel. The first thing people notice about it is that it's short. Obviously, 32 seconds isn't much, and its 1,851 feet of prime ride track isn't much for a major full-circuit coaster, though that does still rank 6th in the park. It starts off by rising up 163 feet, going up the side of a hill, diving into a tunnel that cuts inside the hill. Its max drop at 128 feet, that's 3rd place. It explodes out of the tunnel at 63 miles an hour, that's 2nd place. And it keeps its speed very well through those big inversions, ending before it can lose too much speed. third in pacing at 57.8 feet per second. In 6th place with 40 seconds is Wild Eagle, a B&M wing. This was America's first experience with a B&M wing, and this one's different from the other 3 that came after. This rises up the side of a hill, goes all the way up 135 feet, that's 2nd place, then dives straight down. No curve or wing over drop, just a straight dive to the ground. It maxes out at 61 miles an hour, that's 3rd, and goes into a 4 inversion course around the hillside, rising up into those inversions, but otherwise staying close to the ground, covering almost 2,500 feet of track, good for 4th place. Because of that speed and terrain layout, it has very good pacing. 61.6 feet per second is good for 2nd place at Dollywood, but that's middle of the pack when it comes to the rest of the wing coasters around the world. In 5th place with 48 seconds is Mystery Mine, a Gerstlauer Eurofighter. This is Dollywood's strangest coaster, part dark ride, but mostly coaster. It has 2 vertical lift hills, a section where it meanders, and all the best action happens at the end. That's where it rises to its max height of 85 feet, that's 5th place. Has a beyond vertical drop at 95 degrees. At the bottom, it hits 43.5 miles an hour, that's 3rd to last, and flies into 2 inversions before the ride ends. When you take out the 2 lift hills, it only has 1,470 feet of track and once again is 3rd to last. In terms of ride time, it gets even weirder. It has a drop out of the station into darkness, giving a few seconds of ride time there. The meandering section has 35 seconds, and the exciting section only has 10 seconds. Add them all up, and that's how you get 48 seconds of ride time, covering track at 30.6 feet per second. No shock, 3rd to last. In 4th place with 49 seconds is Thunderhead, a GCI wooden coaster. When this opened in 2004, it won the golden ticket for best wooden coaster a couple times. A fast and furious ride full of sharp turns and airtime. It starts with a 100-foot drop and hits 53.7 miles an hour. That's 4th place. And even though this has 3,230 feet of track, it loses over 700 feet of prime ride track. Having that long brake run and that turn out of the station leading up to the lift, being left with just over 2,500 feet, that's still good for 3rd place. This feels like it has great pacing, but its speed isn't high enough to put this in the top tier, ending up in 4th place at 51.4 feet per second. In 3rd place with 52 seconds is Lightning Rod, an RMC hybrid. This has changed so much over the years, being all wood and having a more powerful launch when it opened in 2016. And by 2022, it was more than half steel and the launch wasn't nearly as good. Going into 2024, it's losing that launch. It's going to use a high-speed chain, and this whole calculation will be different. For now, let's judge it as it last ran in October 2023. I consider that launch lift as prime ride time. I don't know if I'll do the same for the high-speed chain. It depends how fast it goes. That rises up 165 feet. That's number 1 in the park and beats Wild Eagle by 30 feet. It maxes out at 73 miles an hour. Once the world's fastest wooden coaster, but it's not considered a woody anymore. But that's still number 1 and 10 miles an hour ahead of Tennessee Tornado. This tears along the hillside, using all of that 73 miles an hour to climb up the side of the mountain, twisting and dipping into the quad down finale, covering 3,347 feet of track and in 2nd place. No surprise, this is the king of pacing, 64.4 feet per second, beating Wild Eagle by almost 3 feet. When it comes to RMC pacing, Lightning Rod is number 7 out of 25, so that's a pretty legit number. In 2nd place with 78 seconds is Fire Chaser Express, a Gerstlauer family coaster. When it comes to family coasters, this is an all-timer. It starts with a tire-propelled launch, going into a figure 8 before the first lift. That's 16 seconds of ride time. Then it rises up 78 feet, that's 6th place. Doesn't really have one main drop, just dips around the side of the hill for the next 45 seconds, hitting a top speed of 34.5 miles an hour, good for 2nd to last. It then hits a dead end inside a fireworks shop, launches you out backwards, hits a switch track, and you end the ride going backward, backing into the station for the last 17 seconds. It's such a long ride, 26 seconds longer than Lightning Rod, and that even takes out the lift and the stop inside the fireworks shop. It only covers 2,174 feet of track, that's 5th. And as you can imagine, not having much track but still lasting 78 seconds, it's 2nd to last in pacing at 27.9 feet per second. In 1st place with 79 seconds is Big Bear Mountain, a Vekoma family launch coaster. Opening in 2023, the newest addition to Wildwood Grove is a crazy long ride. It starts with an LIM launch. This is the first coaster in over a decade to use LIMs. Usually, coasters like this use LSMs, and it keeps that speed with 2 other well-placed LIM boosters. It doesn't have a drop, but rises up 66 feet. That's 3rd to last. But those launches get it up to 48 miles an hour, and that's in the middle in 5th place. No Dollywood coaster has more track, almost 4,000 feet total, 3,870 feet of prime ride track. That's number 1, and it beats Lightning Rod by over 500 feet. It stays low to the ground, twisting and turning along its terrain, keeping its speed well and finishing in the middle and pacing, 49 feet per second. It's only 1 second longer than Fire Chaser Express, but that's split up into 3 sections. This is one continuous run, and it's crazy how it just keeps going and going and going. I haven't ridden this yet, but I'm looking forward to it next year. That's a wrap on the coasters of Dollywood, by the numbers. Let me know if anything here surprised you, or confirmed something you already knew. Nothing here was that surprising, aside from the fact that Big Bear Mountain lasts 1 minute and 19 seconds from the first launch to final breaks. I also thought Fire Chaser had more track, but that was stuck in the middle. It's kind of amazing it takes that long to cover less than 2,200 feet of track. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. And if you're new here and want to see more like this, please give me a sub. I have a playlist with all my By the Numbers videos. That link's down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.